CFAX1070.com.
The following is a paid program sponsored by Auxilium Mortgage. CFAX 1070 and Bell Media do not endorse the views expressed or the goods or services promoted in the program.
Good afternoon, my friends, and welcome once again to another session of Talk to the Experts. This is going to be a very interesting hour for you today because we have a man in the studio who's going to talk to you about being a person looking for money and wanting to do something with your home, also wanting to buy a home. Why should you use a professional mortgage broker? He'll give you some answers to that. Equity takeout and cash flow, purchase and improvements, cash back, zero down mortgages. Did you hear that? Zero down? Private mortgages. The whole issue of what's going on in the money business when it comes to you and your home. And Auxilium Mortgage Corporation and the owner and the representative is Cam Breyer. He's in the studio with us today. Good to see you. First time we've met.
Yeah, first time we met, Terry. Thank you.
And we're delighted to have you in the studio with us today. And listen, I must say to you, though, you're in Langford. We should thank some of your friends in Langford for the fabulous prizes that they have provided today as well. Why don't you tell the listener about that?
Yeah, sure. Columbo's has been generous to give us a gift certificate at $25 for dinner out. We've also got Basilico, fine Italian food, again, in the heart of Langford. They've been generous. We got a couple of $25 gift certificates from them.
So $50 there. And then our good friend Patisserie Danielle over on Cook Street here, they provided a $50 gift certificate for all of your Christmas goodies, and that's all there. So we got about $125 worth of prizes today, but only, my friends, if you participate in the program. And we think they're going to raise a lot of issues today that are going to tweak your interest as well. Listen, let's talk about this whole issue of mortgages and money. There's a lot of fear. A lot of fear with people saying, hey, wait a minute, look what's going on in Europe, look what's happening to the stock market, etc. That, in effect, though, has not really done anything to shake up or to make money shrink in the mortgage business.
Not really, Terry. I mean, at the end of the day, what it's done is it's certainly got some people sitting on the sidelines as far as buying a house. But if you want to get money, there's lenders that are readily there to lend you money. If you've got good credit, half-decent credit, you've got a good job, you meet all the criteria, there is a ton of lenders out there who would love to give you a mortgage. And
the other issue, too, is that when we talk about all of this money can be utilized in so many different ways that people may not even think of when they take a look at what's going on in their home and the equity that they've already built up.
Absolutely. I mean, there's really no limit to what you can do with it. I mean, obviously, the smart thing to do with it is to hopefully pay down some debt. I mean, you hear about that from the Bank of Canada all the time, that Canadians have far too much debt. So our goal would be, let's pay off some bad debt. Let's get rid of those high interest charges. Let's minimize all of that, and let's maximize the opportunity with the low interest rates we're in.
You reached into the world of the Latin language to name your company. Tell us about Auxilium and why you chose that name.
You know what? That word really summed everything up. It's in Latin, it translates back to care, aid, assist, and support. And really, that's what we're here to do. As mortgage professionals, sometimes, people think all you really care about is just getting a money. But our goal at Auxilium, and my goal as Cam, the mortgage man, ever since I started, has been to work with people to try to improve their whole situation, understand their entire situation, and make not just the mortgage, but their whole financial outcome something positive.
Here's an issue. Many people think, well, wait a minute, I don't understand how a mortgage broker works. Why shouldn't I just tick the boxes when the bank says to me, time to renew?
You know what? That's for some people, that's exactly what they like to do. But a mortgage professional is really getting a second opinion. That's my job. I mean, when you come to us, our goal is to assess your entire situation and hopefully provide you some different solutions other than just renewing. So there's a lot of options out there a lot of people aren't aware of.
But you also, though, you can shop anywhere for money, and you're not married to the company store.
No, absolutely not. We've got over 40 lenders to choose from, so you're certainly not obligated to go with, let's say, for example, you're with Bank A. We've got probably Bank A, and then we got Bank B, C, D, and E, and more. But our goal is going to be to find you a lender that fits with what you're trying to achieve.
Do you charge for your services?
Not when it's a traditional mortgage. So when we have you've got great credit as just a normal mortgage, the lender will pay us.
Yeah.
So that's why my philosophy is a little different. I know sometimes you hear people say, well, I work for you, not the banks. My goal is I work for both of you. I mean, our goal is to find the right lender that fits what your needs are and to marry those two.
Now, one of the things you can do, though, as a professional mortgage person is you can also, though, get rates better than what some banks offer.
Yeah, typically we can, Terry. We've got, simply because of the fact that we've got buying power, we've got access to boutique lenders that necessarily don't advertise to the general public. We do. We've got some pretty good, amazing deals right now.
And this is one of the reasons as to why a person should go to a professional such as yourself to sit down and say, look, I'm going out to Auxilium because I understand what he's saying, and it's going to be a lot easier to talk with him than it is to sit down with a bank.
Well, the first thing is you don't need an appointment.
That's
you just,
right.
Call me anytime. I'll even come to your house. We meet you wherever. We work around your schedule. And it never hurts to get a free second opinion. It didn't cost you a dime.
One of the things I liked about our preliminary discussion before we went to air today, and I think this is a very important issue, is one of the things that you do is what you want to get people and sit them down, and you will also help them not only get the mortgage, but also help them budget what it is that they are doing and show them what's going to be happening with their money. And then you also get them back a year later for a review, because very often you go in and you see a mortgage broker, you get your money, see you later, and you don't see them until either it's paid out or they never show up again.
Absolutely, Terry. I mean, let's face it, people don't live in a vacuum. If you take a 5-year mortgage, your world changes within that 5 years.
Right.
So it would only make sense that on an annual basis, sit down with your broker again. Let's see what's going on in your world, and maybe we need to retweak something, configure something, or do whatever. And as far as the budget, we leave that as an option. If you want us to help you, we're certainly here to help, because the budgeting process is a part of the overall financial process. And, of course, mortgages play a big integral part of that. So my goal for you is to help you pay off your mortgage faster. And, smart budgeting is just necessary for that.
This whole question of equity and cash flow, tell us about that.
Well, a lot of times, a lot of people don't understand that they may have a bunch of equity in their house, but yet they're cash flow poor. They've got far too many debts draining out the cash flow. We had a recent couple in not too long ago where we essentially were able to take what their existing mortgage was, which was a 35-year term. We took all the debts that they had, which at that time rounded out to about $2,900 a month. Yeah. We restructured the whole debt, redid everything, took 10 years off the mortgage, brought it down to
10 years.
10 years. And also took the payments from $2,900 a month to $2,100 a month.
And this is the sheet that I have in front of me. Is that correct?
Absolutely, Terry.
Can I quote some of this?
Yeah, go ahead.
All right. Now, listen to this. This could be yours. We're going to call it Jim and Jane's, all right, their current situation. They have a mortgage of $350,000 at 5.25% for 5 years, okay? 35-year amortization. They had a line of credit at the bank. Cost them 6%. That's $25,000 on the line of credit. $125 a month on that on interest only. They had credit card debts, okay? 15%. Some cases you pay even higher than that, right?
Sometimes you do, yeah.
Some people are, some credit cards are 20%, depending where you're at. Credit cards, $25,000, $315 per month interest on that. Their car payment at 4.9%, a $20,000 car at $376. Second auto loan, $15,000 at 5.9%, $288. Total amount at the end of the month, $2,913 monthly, all right? That totaled out the whole thing to $435,000 in their mortgage. So what they did, they turned around, pick it up from there.
Yeah, well, what we did is we turned it around. We remortgaged them. We got them at a lower rate. And just to quote, like the 5.25% rate a couple of years ago, those were the rates.
Yes.
So there's a lot of people that
still out there.
Oh, well,
sure.
They're still out there. And the line of credit, a lot of people have unsecured lines of credit, which come with usually prime plus 3 or 4, and with prime being at 3%, 6 and 7 is not out of the round. But we redid the whole debt. We were able to bring them down to around $2,100, and that saved them a ton of money, improved their cash flow. The best part, 10 years off the mortgage.
That's amazing, because that's a huge saving.
Well, and you know what? If somebody was really committed and they could make those existing payments, we could even shrink the amortization further. In other words, we could have kept their payments the same, and probably, I don't have the figures in front of me, but I think it was another 8 or 9 years more would have come off.
Man. Now, here's something else that people may not know. A lot of people are sitting back and waiting, well, do I buy another house? What do I do? But why don't we do some improvements? Well, I don't know. We haven't got the money to do that. But if they've got equity in the home, you can make arrangements to pull some of that equity so they can turn around and do those improvements. We'll talk about that when we come back.
Sure.
All right. We'll return in just a few moments as we continue here with Cam Brer with Auxilium Mortgage Corporation. He's the owner. They're out in Langford. He's brought in some fabulous prizes today. Basilico Restaurant on Goldstream. It's a wonderful Italian restaurant in Langford. A total of $50 gift certificates. And if you're asking questions and participating in the program, you'll be eligible for that prize as well. Some great Greek food, including moussaka, over at Columbo's, a $25 gift certificate there. And our good friend Danielle and the gang over at Patisserie Danielle, a $50 gift certificate. And right now they're just jammed with Christmas goodies. As a matter of fact, I brought you some today.
You did, Terry.
Yeah, you got some mince tarts and some biscuits and a few other things. So anyway, so that's all available for you over on Cook Street. So we're going to put all that into the mix. We'll open the phone lines for you right now at 386-1161. That's 386-1161, star 1070 on your cell phone. And you can email your questions to talk@cfax1070.com. What do you need to know about restructuring a mortgage, about restructuring some debt, about getting money out of your equity to put it into some improvements in your home, or possibly to turn around and make a move to do something else with that house? Give us a call at those numbers. Participate in the program. We'd love to have you on the air, and you can talk to Cam in just a moment because he's known as Cam, the Mortgage Man.
CFAX 1070 is where Victoria turns first for local news, weather, and traffic, with more news than ever before. If it's happening, it's here. Victoria's News Authority, CFAX 1070. CFAX 1070 is your home for Vancouver Canucks hockey.
This afternoon, the Canucks close out their road trip with a visit to the center of the universe. Canucks and the Leafs, play-by-play at 4. Join me, John Shorthouse, along with Dave Tomlinson, right here on CFAX 1070.
Vancouver Canucks hockey. CFAX 1070 has all the action. Catch every Canuck game all season right here on Victoria's News Authority, CFAX 1070.
Penna & Company is brimming with great gift ideas for Christmas. For him, give the Jacquard Meat Tenderizer, the original multi-blade handheld tenderizer. The Jacquard Meat Tenderizer maximizes cooking results from less expensive cuts. For her, give the Bomix of Switzerland Magic Wand Mixer, complete with multi-purpose blade, whisk, beater, and stand. See the Jacquard Meat Tenderizer and the Bomix Magic Wand Mixer today at Penna & Company in Broadmead Village. For the cook who loves to cook.
Where am I?
Neverland. Tomorrow and Monday on Space.
Peter, trust in yourself.
Before Peter
Neverland is filled with adventures.
became Pan.
Who are you?
The name's Hook. Before Hook, trust me, became Captain.
You become one of them.
Before the story became legend.
Peter!
A 2-night event.
Join me, Hook. Together we can rule Neverland.
Neverland. Tomorrow and Monday at 5 p.m. on Space. No limits.
When it's advertised free, do you expect much? The Royal Jubilee Denture Clinic goes above and beyond your expectations with their free consultation offer. For free, you get an assessment of your oral tissues and your denture. They explain your options and create a treatment plan. The treatment plan and related price quotes are written up for review. Follow-up care is included at no extra charge for 6 months after insertion. For a free consultation that has bite, visit Royal Jubilee Denture Clinic, 1964 Fort. Call 592-8338, 592-8338.
The following is a paid program sponsored by Auxilium Mortgage. CFAX 1070 and Bell Media do not endorse the views expressed or the goods or services promoted in the program.
Cam, the Mortgage Man, is in the studio with us today. Here, let me give you his email address as well and his website. It's www.camthemortgageman.com. Also, www.auxiliummortgage, that's AUXILIUM mortgage, auxiliummortgage.com. And give us the email address.
Oh, it's from Cam at auxiliummortgage.com as well.
Okay, that's simple, friends. So you can contact Cam as well and look at his website. So let's go to some calls here. This should be an interesting afternoon. Line number 1, this is Sharon. Sharon, a Merry Christmas to you. How are you?
Merry Christmas to you and Cam. I have a question. My house is clear title. I took an early retirement, and I am going to do major renovations in an older home. And I was wondering, would it be wiser to get a mortgage through Cam, or would that be better than my line of credit or taking some of my RSP money out? Which would be better?
All right, that's a good question. Go ahead.
Well, you know what? First thing, in order to figure it out, Sharon, we need to know your entire situation. But anytime you're touching your RSPs, there's going to be tax liabilities.
That's right.
So obviously, you got to talk to your tax accountant about that. I'm a big believer in line of credits. I really like those products. I think they're awesome.
But your mortgage could be lower, couldn't it?
Yeah, it could be. What we've got to really do is understand your entire situation. I think it's very hard when you're off the cuff to say, well, I think this is best or that's best. As Terry said, I don't charge anything for a consultation. So what I'd suggest is after the show's over, please feel free. Call me on my phone number, the 250-686-4246, or just email me.
686, what was it?
4246.
4246. Because I couldn't quite get the name of your company either.
You just remember Cam the Mortgage Man.
Yeah, that's on the website. But if you were to look it up.
Auxilium Mortgage Corporation. That's it's a Latin word, and it's AUXILIUM. Auxilium, okay?
Okay, Auxilium. Okay, I get it now.
And it's camthemortgageman.com. That's the website. But the other thing, too, is he's in Langford. Right. And you should, when you phone Cam, make an appointment and sit down because you've got a very interesting situation. And there's a lot of variations here. But would you think, though, Cam, that just based on the surface, anybody listening to the show right now who's in her situation and what Sharon is doing, that because money is so cheap right now, like at 3.39 and so on, to go ahead. May I be indelicate and ask you an age range? Give me an idea as to approximately how old you are.
62.
Okay, so all right, now
26 if you're dyslexic.
All right, Yahoo! All right, so what we're dealing with then is an issue where she is in a position where with full title in her home or free title in her home, she's in a position to get some of this cheaper money and could do a good job on it and just increase the price of the house.
Absolutely. I mean, the bottom line is whatever you're doing is obviously what you want to do. It's going to work for you. What we're here to do is try to figure out the least expensive way to do it and also the most beneficial. So when you want to pay it back, you've got the most flexibility to do so.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, that's great. I'll give you a call at the office.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much for your help. You can call him right after the show as well.
Pardon?
You can phone him right after the show as well. 686-4246. And the same to you. All right. Let's get to another call here. Let's get to line number 2. Line number 2, this is Rick. Hi, Rick. Are you there?
Hi, guys. Merry Christmas.
Yeah, Merry Christmas to you, Rick. Go ahead, please, to Cam the Mortgage Man.
Yeah, what my wife and I did is we ended up getting our monthly mortgage set up so that we could pay it weekly instead of bi-weekly or monthly. And it saved us thousands of dollars. Now, can you force banks or financial institutions to do that? Because apparently some do and some don't.
Well, actually, Rick, you know what? All the financial institutions pretty much give you the option of either biweekly or weekly. You know what? Kudos to you for taking on that weekly route because what it essentially does, and a lot of people don't understand, by doing biweekly or weekly, you basically wind up not only making one extra payment a year, but because your money is hitting the principal sooner every time, you do shave off interest. So it's a really good, smart way to go.
Yeah, we saved approximately 7.5 years. And I figured it out. We saved about $35,000 in interest. Oh, yeah,
it will. And especially because mortgages are so front-loaded because of the amortization. You start out with such a large amortization that the sooner you can dump extra payments against it. If you're making an extra payment every year, you got to think you're all basically made 5 months worth of payments in a 5-year term.
Yeah, exactly. So you can basically just say, look, I want to pay it. But a lot of people don't realize that a weekly payment is just a monthly payment split into 4 payments.
It certainly is. The thing that happens for a lot of people is what we do is we try to figure out the best way for them to do it, but it's obviously got to be tailored to their cash flow as well. So, but you know, at a minimum, bi-weekly is a great way to go. You can go weekly. They're both great.
Perfect. Appreciate that.
Have a Merry Christmas.
Thank
you very much for your call. All right. Telephone number, by the way, for Cam. You can reach him on his cell phone at any time, and you can also reach him toll-free. It is 250-686-4246. Let him get off the air today before you call him. That's 250-686-4246, and also toll-free at 1-877-686-4246 as well. And the website address is www.camthemortgageman.com. Okay, and the email address is cam@Auxilium Mortgage. That's AUXILIUM Mortgage.com. And also you can reach them at www.auxiliummortgage.com as well. You're covered in all those areas. I'll tell you. You got a tweet?
We got tweets. We got everything nowadays.
Man, you can't do it without that. All right.
No.
Listen, before I get to another call, let me ask you another question about one of the things that people will say, look, I've got an income, and I've got, my wife and I are working. We've got lots of money coming in, but we can never seem to get together to get enough money to make a down payment. Can you buy a home with zero down?
You certainly can, Terry.
How do you do it?
Well, it's still possible. We've got lenders out there who will give you cash back towards the down payment. The key with that scenario is you've got to make sure, A, that your jobs are very stable because you want to have a good income. I would not advocate anybody getting over their heads and buying a house with zero down when their income is suspect. You've got to have great credit. And really, that deal has to make a lot of sense. So you may be a young couple out of school, or you may be somebody who's had issues like, let's say, maybe a major family crisis in the last few years and that devastated your savings. Yeah. But you've got the income, you've got the discipline, you can do it. For those folks, home ownership is not out of reach.
I know people who live here and some people who live in the Lower Mainland who pay astronomical amounts per month on rent. Yeah. And I've never seen the sense in paying. I mean, I know a family, as a matter of fact, that pays close to $2,800 a month for rent.
They do, yeah.
And I'm saying, why do you take that kind of money and put it into a rental? Sit down with somebody like Cam, the mortgage man, and say, look, this is what we're able to pay. How can we get this consolidated and get out of this whole issue and get into a piece of property that we actually own where we get some equity?
Absolutely. I mean, the first step in that scenario is give us a call. Let's sit down. A lot of times people don't call simply because they don't think it's possible. They don't know that zero down still exists, or they're worried about some past credit issues. There's things that are haunting them in the closet. The first thing you got to do is call me. We'll sit down. We'll set up an appointment. No obligation, no cost. Then we'll figure out a strategy.
Cam Breyer is with us. So we're talking about you and your mortgages and your money. You want to talk to him, you may do so. Our telephone number is 386-1161. That's 386-1161. You can also call on your cell line. That's a free call. Star 1070 on the cell. You can also email us, talk@CFAX1070.com. Do not forget to put your name and your telephone number on the email so you're in the running for the prizes. We're giving away $50 gift certificates from Basilico's Restaurant in Langford today. They're on Goldstream, fabulous Italian food. Colombo's Greek food, a $25 gift certificate at Colombo's, and a $50 gift certificate from Patisserie Danielle, and all of their fabulous Christmas goodies over there at 1729 Cook Street in Victoria. Back in a moment as we continue on Talk to the Experts.
Your annual camping trip, biking the Galloping Goose, your kid's soccer game. You need an accurate forecast. If it's happening, it's here. Victoria's News Authority, CFAX 1070.
How do you get a good night's sleep? Check out Dodd's Serta Gallery, the largest Serta Gallery with over 40 beds to choose from. Dodd's Furniture and Mattress introduces the new iComfort beds, the new age of memory foam that keeps you cool and has better support than other memory foam mattresses on the market. Ask about iComfort's collection of 120 days sleep guarantee. Serta iComfort Memory Foam Mattress. Smarter, cooler, better. Available at Dodd's Furniture and Mattress. Furniture and Mattress. 17 Finlayson across from Mayfair Shopping Center.
Get your property exposed to more than 10,000 visitors monthly at ronneal.com. That's ronneal.com.
Our previous agent didn't cut it. Nothing happened. The condo was empty for months. No showings and no communications. Once we got in touch with Ron, we had a full price offer within 2 weeks.
If you are serious about selling, call Ron Neal now at RE/MAX Alliance and start packing.
Call the Neal Estate Team for your real estate dream. RonNeal.com.
Holly wreaths, evergreen, Santa and his reindeer. These symbols are rooted in our past. The holiday season is a celebration of tradition, peace, goodwill, family, and friends. Harbor Door wants to take this opportunity to thank all of our customers for the past 25 years and wishes to continue our tradition of service, loyalty, and goodwill into the new year. Harbor Door wishes you the best of the season and joins you in celebrating your traditions. Happy holidays from everyone at Harbor Door, 210 Mary Street.
Freshness, Christmas, Fairway Market.
Stock up for your Yuletide festivities at Fairway Market. Canada Great Double A T-Bone or Porterhouse grilling steak in the family pack, just $5.99 a pound or $13.21 a kilogram. Limit 2 packages. Check off someone on your list with Fairway gift certificates. Ask at the customer service desk. Fresher than ever choices are ready for you at Fairway Market. Proud to be local.
Fairway, every day. Fairway Market.
The following is a paid program sponsored by Auxilium Mortgage. CFAX 1070 and Bell Media do not endorse the views expressed or the goods or services promoted in the program.
Cam Brar can actually sit you down in his office and restructure the way that you're handling your finances and assist you in getting your mortgage, as well as making those payments and showing how equity in your home can also give you a position where you can get some of those important renovations done for your home and increase the overall market value of it. And there's a whole series of issues that he works into that a lot of other people in the mortgage business don't even touch. Equity takeouts on the cash flow, purchase and improvements, cashback, and zero-down mortgages we've talked about so far. Let me get back into this zero-down issue again. You said a young couple, somebody who has to pay astronomical amounts, let's say, for rent. They can't put things together. People who are in seasonal work have a difficult time getting that, but people who have got a professional handle beside them, whether, doctors, lawyers, dentists, whatever they may be, it's going to be a little easier for them. But Give us an idea of the kind of salary that a person collectively should be making as a couple in order to get themselves into a zero down.
Well, you know what, Terry, at the end of the day, it depends what you're looking to buy, but we've had couples that have bought condos, and some recent examples that come to mind is I had a couple that bought a condo. I'm trying to remember, I think we were close to around $300,000 for the condo, and their income combined was about $55,000.
Really?
Yeah.
So they got it?
Oh, yeah. So it wasn't, both of their jobs were progressive. They knew they were going to be only at the starting points and they were going forward. So it's one of those scenarios where you've got to look at your situation. You don't want to overextend yourself, because I would never advocate somebody overextending.
But you advise against that as well.
Absolutely. I think what you've got to do is you got to, as the old saying goes, never bite off more than you can chew.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And some people, though, will turn around and they'll get money, let's say, in an equity in a home, and they'll turn around and they buy cars, boats, they go on long trips to Europe, whatever, and then there's nothing to show.
Well, you know what? That's exactly what the Bank of Canada has been hammering on in the last while, saying that Canadians are overextended. If you read any financial book, there's good debt, bad debt.
Yes.
There's people have heard of things like the Smith maneuver, all these different kinds of things. If you're taking equity out for something positive, let's face it, the real estate market right now, if you find it, it is a buyer's market. So with it being a buyer's market, you may want to buy that second rental property. There's no better time with rates as low as they are to pull that equity out for something smart and get that property.
Or get some money out and to do an improvement and put in a suite if you're allowed to do it in the area.
Absolutely. If you're allowed to do that in the area, maybe that $10,000, $20,000 investment turns into $1,200, $1,300 a month in cash flow.
Absolutely. Yeah. And also increases the value of the home overall.
Absolutely.
Let me get to call number 3 here. Let's get to Patty. Patty, are you with us? Go ahead, please, and a Merry Christmas.
And Merry Christmas to you all. I am a senior, and I'm very confused because for years we paid insurance on our mortgage. Unfortunately, we had to remortgage, so right now we're looking at downsizing because of my husband's medical condition, and so therefore we will still carry a mortgage. But my confusion is the insurance that you pay on your mortgage. My husband is 72, so therefore when he was 68, he was no longer insurable by the bank. So now I continue to pay the insurance. I'm going to be 67, and soon, perhaps next year, I think, I'm not quite sure, they will also tell me that I'm not insured. So if I move on and continue with a smaller mortgage, does that mean I'm not insurable?
Well, Patty, I guess the first thing about it is insurance is every company has a different age cutoff. And the idea behind buying life insurance really is the fact that you want to make sure your heirs don't get left with any debts when you pass away. I would say that what you and your husband have to decide is, does it really matter to you? If you want to leave a house free and clear or something for your kids, that's great. But if you don't really care, once you're gone, and if the bank gets left with debt, so be it. That's what you have to decide. And if you're not going to be eligible anymore, you're not going to be eligible. But it only makes sense to carry insurance if you've got a good reason and a compelling reason to want to have it on there, which, if you've got a young family or whatever else, it's certainly a smart thing.
What about the equity in your home? How much have you got?
How much?
Equity.
About 350.
What would you say?
It's a lot of money.
Yeah, roughly, Patty, what would you say your house is worth?
Around $415.
$415, and you owe about $350.
No, she has equity.
I owe $150.
Oh, $150.
So
okay.
She's got a lot of cash sitting there.
You know, one of the things you might want to think about is even a reverse mortgage.
That's what I was going to ask you about.
Yeah. What I suggest is give me a call when the show's over. You got my number, and I'll be happy to sit down with you and your husband. There's another product out there for seniors. We can tell you a little bit about that as well. Those are reverse mortgages. And it's a little bit hard to get into over the radio because it's a bit of a longer conversation.
Well, give us the principles, though. I think this is a very people see it on television all the time. They say, well, wait a minute. How the heck does this reverse mortgage really work? Give us the basic fundamentals.
Sure. In a nutshell, Terry, the reverse mortgages, they can lend you up to 50% of the value of your home.
Okay.
And you do not make ongoing monthly payments. The payments are accrued to the principal. So what will happen is, let's say you start with a balance of $100,000 today and you don't make payments for 10 years.
Right.
Those payments are added to the overall principal.
Right.
So people say, well, what happens if I pass away? Well, if you pass away like any other mortgage, it's paid out.
Right.
The equity that's remaining goes to your family, whatever. If your family wants to keep the house, they pay the mortgage out, they keep the house.
But here's Patty with $350,000 equity she has in her home.
Yeah.
She would be eligible, let's say, give us a figure on something like where she's got about $150,000.
Well, if she owes $150,000, there's really be no reason why she wouldn't qualify.
Right.
Yeah, and so then what would happen is there's no mortgage payments anymore that come out of their pockets.
Right.
So the mortgage payment with the balance will keep accruing, and eventually when Patty and her husband both pass away, the mortgage would then be required to be paid out. So
and what they'll do is they would liquidate the house. And they would take their money out plus the interest that accrued, and then they would give the rest of it back to the family.
Absolutely.
How does that sound, Patty?
Oh, how very interesting, because it's been very stressful right now.
Oh, I'll bet you, because you're wondering where the next dollar is going to come from, right?
Absolutely.
So listen, do this. Phone Cam, and I'll give you his cell phone number. You got your pen and pencil there?
I do.
Okay. Phone Cam when he gets off the air, 250 686 42 46.
Okay.
Arrange to go over and have a meeting with him, possibly one day next week. Are you going to be working every day?
I'm always working, Terry.
Okay. you and me
Ask
both.
my wife.
Yeah, I'll bet you that's true. Here's what you do. He's over in, where do you live?
Where do I live? In Saanich.
In Saanich, okay. He's over on Goldstream Avenue in Victoria, or you can just call him and start the relationship by the phone. Okay. He's at 307 Goldstream Avenue. Do you drive?
307, yes, I do.
Okay, so get out to Goldstream, out to Langford, and sit down with Cam and let him show you how you can get that equity in your home and either turn around and use that money to get yourself a reverse mortgage so you can get rid of the financial worry, get some cash in your hand, start enjoying your life, and not have to worry about whether you're going to be able to make that insurance payment or not.
Yeah, and the other thing we can do, Patty, is if it's inconvenient for you guys, and I do this a lot of times, is I'll go out and see you. So if it's whatever works for you. I mean, that's a great service. You'll go to the home. Oh yeah, I've done it many times.
Because then my husband can participate.
Absolutely. Good idea.
Yeah.
He can come out and see you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so let me know how it goes. All right.
I'll give him a call for sure.
Very good. Okay, thank you for your call,
Patty.
and
Merry
have a Merry Christmas to you.
Thank you, and same to you.
Thank you so much for your call. Yeah, and that's the thing that a lot of people don't understand is that you're mobile enough and there's business there. You can take off and go and sit down with these people and say, look, let's crunch these numbers.
I do that all the time, Terry. I mean, we don't operate from a 9-to-5 mindset.
No.
Saturdays I take appointments. I'll go see people at their homes. I'll meet them at a coffee shop. I mean, I've sat in many Tim Hortons many times.
Cam Brar is with us. He is known as Cam the Mortgage Man. You can go to www.camthemortgageman.com. You can also go to auxiliummortgage.com. Auxilium is the Latin word for?
To care, aid, assistance, support.
Well, you're doing that today. .com, all
We're
right.
trying.
And also the email address is cam@auxiliummortgage.com. That's AUXILIUM. Auxilium Mortgage. If you couldn't get through before, we've had a lot of calls right off the top of the show, so give us a call at 386-1161. That's 386-1161, star 1070 on that cell line. Also, you can email us, talk@CFAX1070.com. Make sure you put your name and your telephone number on the email, because when you do that, then you're in the running for one of our 3 prizes today. A $50 gift certificate to the Italian restaurant on Goldstream called Basilico's. They're in Langford. And also at Columbo's Greek restaurant, a $25 gift certificate. And just in time for your Christmas goodie packages, Patisserie Danielle over on Cook Street, there's a $50 gift certificate for mince tarts, shortbreads, whatever the heck you want. He's got them all. As a matter of fact, I gave Cam some today.
I can feel it. I can feel it adding on me already, Terry. Thanks.
All right, we'll be back in a moment as we continue on Talk to the Experts.
Health news you can understand. The CFAX 1070 Health File with Karen Sermon. Mornings at 6:40 and afternoons at 5:50. If it's happening, it's here. Victoria's News Authority. CFAX 1070.
All of the staff and drivers at Bluebird Cabs would like to thank you for your business over the past year and wish you a safe, healthy, and prosperous holiday season. Thank you from Bluebird Cabs.
You know, I'm a no-nonsense kind of guy. So when I went looking for information about cemetery and cremation planning, I went to the Royal Oak Burial Park website, robp.ca. Their website describes the choices people need to make, the options they offer, and complete price lists for their services. robp.ca is a great way to get information, all in the privacy of your home. And Royal Oak Burial Park on Falaise Drive is community-owned and not-for-profit, so they're all about service, not sales. Check out robp.ca on the Internet. You won't regret it. I didn't.
Have you ever scraped your bumper or found a mysterious scratch on your car?
Uh-oh.
Island Color will fix that scrape or scratch for less than your deductible, in-store or mobile. It's time to sell, or maybe your lease is up. How does your car look? Island Detail can help. From a quick clean to a shiny showroom finish, Island Detail will have your car looking gorgeous.
Wow, but now I want to keep it.
Give a gift certificate this Christmas from Island Detail on Princess and on Johnson. 386-0615. 386-0615.
You will discover a new lifestyle in retirement living at Highgate Lodge, a small, close-knit seniors community enjoying their favorite pastimes. We take over the chores so you have the time and energy to enjoy your interests. At Highgate, we provide transportation to medical and dental appointments. And just for fun, weekly excursions are planned. Highgate Lodge has so much to offer, including 3 meals a day. I'm Linda Bishop. I invite you to our home today. For a personal tour, call 472-0077. Come home to Highgate.
The following is a paid program sponsored by Auxilium Mortgage. CFAX 1070 and Bell Media do not endorse the views expressed or the goods or services promoted in the program.
Let's return now to Cam the Mortgage Man as we continue here talking about mortgages and about payments and the things that you need to know. Here's an example of what Cam has been talking about today, about how people can stop that cash flow crunch, and he's got a really interesting paper prepared on it. Let's say you happen to have a mortgage of $350,000, okay, and you're paying 5.25% on a 5-year term, 35-year amortization. You can get 42, can't you?
You can.
Yeah,
I don't
right.
generally suggest it, but you can.
But 35 is there, certainly. And you've never seen such cheap money in your life as available now.
You know what,
a heck
Terry?
of a lot better than 5.25.
It certainly is right now.
Okay, so here's the story. You got a line of credit, okay? Let's say $25,000. 6% you're going to pay on that. Credit cards, $25,000, 15%. Auto payment, $20,000 car, 4.9%. Second automobile, $15,000 at 5.9%. So you add those bills up. You got $125 in interest on your line of credit, $315 on your credit cards, $376 on your auto loans. $376 on the first car, $288 on the second car. So you got a total of $2,913 a month that you got to bail out and pay off those debts. Okay, but Cam can sit you down, put you into a brand new mortgage, $435,000 at 3.39%, 5-year term, 25-year amortization, all the debts included. You can literally sit down and consolidate debts for people and get them to get debt-free, so all they pay is the mortgage payment and still save the money.
Absolutely, Terry. And that example, as you were reading out, was one we did a couple of months ago. And believe it or not, as crazy as rates are, they're even lower than that now. So there is certainly a great opportunity if you have a lot of debt to look at that. Now, one of the things you probably hear on the radio, and you hear it all over, is a lot of these companies advertise about unlocking equity out of your house,
right.
And those are take the equity out of your house. And a lot of times, if your credit maybe is less than perfect, we talk about bruised credit, you could have had something happen, this option is still open to you. It doesn't mean that you can't do this. You can still look at this refinance option.
You know what's interesting about this? You've saved this family $767 per month. That's a heck of a lot of money.
And we took 10 years off the mortgage.
And you took 10 years off the mortgage, which would amount to about how much money in the long
I don't
run?
even want to think about how big that number is.
But it's huge.
Oh, well, at $2,900 a month that it was, that's like $30,000 a year. 10 years, that's $300,000.
Man alive, that's a huge savings.
Yeah.
$767 per month of improved cash flow, plus the mortgage is paid off 10 years sooner. Do you believe that people should try to pay down their mortgages or at cheap money today and all the things that you can do with it, that's a game you shouldn't be playing, or what?
Well, you know what, Terry? It's very hard to say what's right for one doesn't work for another. I mean, at the end of the day, there's options both ways. If you're looking at interest that's tax deductible, like interest costs for investing purposes, yes, then you're not in a hurry to pay that principal down. But if you're looking at it for your home, the goal is a lot of times to pay that off as quickly as you can. What I advocate is get rid of the bad debt. Good debt's okay. But in order to establish all of that, we got to have a sit down so we know where you're at before we can advocate which way to go.
All right, let's get into another area that we have not talked about today with you, because you do so many things with your company, but you're also involved in private mortgages.
Yeah.
Aren't all mortgages private?
No, well, private mortgages are really mortgages when you don't fit the bank's model.
Okay.
You could be somebody who's self-employed. You could be new to the job. You could be new to the country. You could have had some bad credit, bruised credit in the past.
Yep.
There could be many different multitude of reasons why you need short-term private money.
How does this work?
Well, private money is not your traditional lenders. We have a host of either private, like individual lenders, and we even have small syndicated corporations who lend in those scenarios. You probably, like I said, heard the radio ads. There's companies advertising from Toronto to Vancouver, all of those places. The thing I always say to people is call somebody local. Give me a call, because we do that sort of thing all the time.
Give me an example.
Well, I mean, I had a couple not too long ago. There was a gentleman whose son had developed leukemia.
Okay.
And the leukemia had devastated the family, so they got behind on their existing mortgage. They got behind on other debts, and that really hurt their credit score. A lot of people are familiar with what's called Beacon score. That's your credit score.
Yes.
And unfortunately, these poor people with no cause of their own got in a really bad situation. Now, the traditional lenders, the banks, the existing mortgage lender they had would not give them any more money. So in that scenario, because they had a lot of equity in their house, we were able to go to a private lender who gave them some short-term money, and that allowed them to pay off some debts that were all in arrears. It took almost 12 months, but they got the ship righted. And then about another 6 months after that, we were able to refinance that debt and get everything into a much lower rate overall. So it was a stepping stone.
So, in effect, you are a guy who is in the financial business. You help people out. You help people get into a zero-down mortgage. You can set up mortgages for them. You do financial counseling with them to show them how they can structure their debts to save them money, to make sure they can get that mortgage. And then if you're really in there where you're caught behind, a stack of whatever it may be, and you need to wheel your way out of that, you can guide them through a lot of those hurdles and a lot of those problems if they've got the availability of the job, the money, and so on.
Absolutely, Terry. I mean, the big thing with that is usually equity. As long as they have some equity in their property.
And that's the key.
Exactly. And I'm not going to mislead anybody and say otherwise. That's the key. There's got to be a story there. And you know what? If you've got that, I'm willing to sit down and listen, and we'll try to do our best to help you.
Now, in the area of private mortgages, as an example, do you charge for that particular service?
We have to, Terry. The lenders don't pay us in private mortgages, so that's a fee for service, but everything's disclosed to people at the beginning, so it's their choice if they would like to proceed in that direction.
But in some cases for people, it may be the last chance saloon.
It can be. I mean, there's sometimes we've had people that are close to foreclosure, and you know what? The risk of losing the house and losing all their equity, it wasn't palatable, so we were able to do things, and for that there is a cost.
Give me, if you can, some of the most common mistakes that we as lenders and so on make when we go ahead and we make a decision to buy a home or to buy a condo. What are some of the things because, everybody thinks that their house is really worth a lot of money, or people think, oh, gosh, I'd love to have that, and let's go ahead and do it. What's the biggest problem that Canadians seem to suffer from when it comes to going out and getting their act together to buy a home?
Well, you know what? The biggest thing you've got to do is have a budget. You'd be amazed at the number of people I encounter that they make a lot of money, but they don't know where any of it goes. I mean, if you want to make a purchase like that, I always tell people, let's have a budget. Let's see what your cash flow looks like. It's one thing to think you're going to be able to make the payment. It's another to actually be able to make it.
And that really is the key.
I think so. I mean, it's all part of the financial process. I mean, it's so important for your financial well-being, your family's financial well-being, to have a good handle on where you're at. And our goal is to try to help you with that if you want that help.
All right, let's go back to the beginning of this program when we got you into the studio here and we started to talk about a lot of these issues. And that is why a person should be using a professional mortgage broker. What is the advantage to me coming to you as opposed to going to the bank?
Well, when you come to me, like I said, I've got a host of lenders to choose from. And I'm not.
And you're not selling products.
No, I'm not selling products, and I would never knock the banks. I mean, they're fabulous. I work with them all the time.
Sure.
Our role is a little different. I mean, we take a whole approach to everything, and I've got the flexibility of not just the lender you've got, your bank, but I've got other banks too, and I've got lenders that sometimes you've never heard of. So our goal is to try to find something that will fit your individual needs, and that's what my primary focus is.
How often do you get involved in doing commercial deals? Do you do commercial properties as well?
Yeah, I do, Terry. I mean, I get calls occasionally to do commercial. Commercial lending is a little different than the residential lending.
Right.
And it's certainly a bigger down payment requirement for commercial lending. But we've got lenders that do commercial lending.
Do you also, when you counsel people and they're sitting down and talking about getting, let's say, improvement money or buying a home, where they want to put a suite in, where a suite is not allowed in a specific area, because there's lots of areas in and around Greater Victoria that say no suites allowed, except for possibly family members. That's a different story, right?
Yeah.
But a lot of people just bypass that. Are you able to get mortgages, or do you say, no, you can't go into this particular area because they don't allow suites in there, and it's not a good idea because you may have a problem with the lender?
Well, I mean, the lenders understand that the suites are a necessary evil in markets like Victoria and Vancouver. I mean, How else do you make these mortgage payments?
Of course.
I would never advocate anybody. I mean, I always say to people, check with the local municipality, see what the rules are. Even if the suite is not legal and it's existing, we can still use the income. The lenders will let us use that income.
They will.
There are certain lenders that allow us to do it. And even CMHC, the insurance arm, and Genworth, who's another insurer nationally, they will allow us to use that rental income. So we can work with it. It's a lot of people don't know that income can still be utilized.
But here's the other issue too. I guess it's this: is that in the Greater Victoria area, they may say no to a suite, but a lot of the municipalities are just looking the other way. Unless a neighbor complains.
Yeah, you know what? Again, what the city does is entirely up to them. When you buy a house with a non-authorized suite, you're always taking a risk.
Yes,
and that's up to you to decide if it's going to make sense to you. All I can tell you is that we do have lenders and that will accept that income.
Let's go back to the other situation, and that's your equity takeout and your cash flow. Let's talk about that again.
Yeah. Well, the equity takeout is if you've got a lot of equity in your property and you may be looking at some opportunities. You may want to buy a rental property. You may want to take some money out to help your kids with a down payment for their house.
Yes.
There can be a number of things. Or you might have some investment opportunities you want to invest in. All of those things can be utilized under that equity program.
Purchase and improvements, cash back, and zero down mortgages, an important issue for people listening to this program right now who have been trying to get into a condo, a home, whatever. Zero down, the purchase and improvements. Start with purchase and improvements first.
Well, purchase and improvements is, I'll give you a cross example. I had a young welder who was buying a house up in Cobble Hill very recently. He had almost $70,000 a year in income, so great job. And he was buying this house that needed a bunch of work.
Yeah.
So we got him a mortgage. He had 5% down. We got him a mortgage because they needed about $18,000 worth of work. But if he put that money up, he would have nothing left for his down payment.
Right.
So we had one of our lenders who did that deal, and they gave him that extra $18,000 he needed for the actual renovations. And so he had 90 days to get the work done within. Once the work is completed, what happens is the lawyer released the money, the contractors got paid, he got the work done, and he still got in with the same 5% down.
No kidding.
Yep.
Good deal.
Yeah, it was a great deal. And I had another example not too long ago where we had a young professional couple. Not only did they do the purchase plus improvements, they also got a cashback. So essentially they did both. We were able to do one mortgage with both of those.
How does that work, this cashback?
Well, essentially the house they were buying was about $400,000.
Okay.
And the cashback works that you pay a higher rate because you've got to repay that money back to the lender.
Yes.
So we managed to get their down payment from the cashback Plus, that house needed a suite to go in, and it was about $22,000 if memory serves me.
Yeah.
And we were able to get the cash back, the money for the suite, and all done that way.
Good deal.
Yeah, and they were able to get a 2-bedroom suite in a house.
How much does a suite or doing any kind of improvements around your home actually increase the value of the property?
Well, Terry, that's always hard to tell, but I guess the more important number is it improves your cash flow. So if you're suddenly got an $1,100 or $1,200 that you never had before a month, that's going to make a huge difference to your mortgage payments.
I keep on talking, when I talk to real estate agents and talk to people in that business, and you're familiar with a lot of them, I'm sure, and they always tell you, that the whole question is, if you can improve the look of your property, if you can make it, the whole street issue when people just first drive up, that's going to improve the chance of a sale. All of this, what we've been talking about today, has got to improve the overall value.
Absolutely. And I mean, to me, the big thing you have to focus on is, how do I improve my cash flow? If I can take that house and suddenly get an extra $1,100, $1,200 a month in my pocket, that goes a long way towards helping me with my mortgage.
And zero down on mortgages. What's the story?
Well, zero down, again, if you've got great credit, you've got a good income and everything else, we can still have lenders that will do zero down. Essentially, you don't have to come up with a down payment. Okay, one more thing before you go. Hit the private mortgage issue again for people who are wondering how to restructure their problems. Well, if you're drowning in debt, you've got a bunch of payments that are overwhelming, you're stuck, and let's say your credit's less than perfect or the bank has said no, give us a call. I mean, we're local. We're not like out of Toronto or some other place. When you're calling me, you're reaching me, and I'm happy to sit down with you, figure out your situation, and if I can help, I'll do my best. All right. Listen, how do people contact you? They can best way is always my cell, 250-686-4246. I will answer that pretty much any time, as my wife will attest to. Doesn't matter when it is. Don't do it 2 o'clock in the morning. Turn it off. Well, right? Give it a break. Okay. All right. All right. Give us the number again. 250-686-4246. And toll free at 1-877-686-4246 as well. Yes. And give us your website. My website is camthemortgageman.com. It's pretty easy. And our other website is auxiliummortgage.com. Okay, so there you go. And the Auxilium, by the way, is AUXILIUM mortgage.com.